Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I know you typically do the introduction, but today we are learning about our host, Coach Audra, because it is her birthday. Happy birthday, Audra.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'll say it so you don't have to. I'm turning 40 today. So it's a big milestone year, and I am just going to celebrate for as long as the people around me let me.
Yeah, it's your birthday month, right?
Yes.
We've got some birthday wishes from Margaret Rose Cox. Happy birthday.
Yay! I love you, Margaret Rose. You're awesome.
We definitely want to encourage everyone to share their comments and questions for us today, because we are learning more about the host of Tuesdays with Audra, which is amazing because we've been doing this for quite a while now, actually.
Yeah, we're on episode number 15.
Every Tuesday, we host the Tuesdays with Audra, and every Tuesday, Coach Audra interviews a local business owner or someone in the business world to basically explain their story and share some of their tips and tricks to navigate and pivot the current world we live in, while also offering business advice. So it's been very successful thus far. Mm-hmm. And I want to go ahead and show you some more comments we have here from Anicia London. Happy birthday. So we are so excited to be interviewing you today. On the flip side, how does it feel for you?
Weird. I'm used to being, prepared each Tuesday with, these are the questions that I'm going to ask, and this is what I'm going to dive into. But sitting on the other side and being like, I have no idea what she's going to ask me, and I don't know if I can come up with an answer fast enough, is, it's different, but it's okay.
All right. Well, we've got a lot of people watching today. So we want to make sure that everyone shares your comments and questions with us, and also share this live stream on your Facebook pages. Let's get more people involved, and definitely let's engage with each other. So first of all, Coach Audra, tell us about your business. What do you do exactly?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I own Partners for a Solution. I am a certified professional life and master business coach. My background is actually in hospitality. So I went to FSU and got a degree in hospitality from Dedman School. I have a master's in business from the University of Tampa. And I got into coaching because I hired a coach. I had never even understood that there was a thing. Thank you, Deborah. And until I met my first one, I met her at a networking event down in Tampa when I lived down there. And her name is Tara Olmstead, and she helped me change my life. I was in a bad, I guess, not good place with my career. I mean, I was college educated, and yet I was working in a cubicle, and that's just not my style. And so I got really frustrated. And when I met her, she's so dynamic. And the concept of having somebody that can hold your hand and guide you to where you want to be, and give you advice along the way, but also understands how brains work. Prior to that, all I'd ever known, if I ever needed help, was to go see a counselor or a therapist. But that's not what I needed at the time. I needed motivation. I needed out of my rut. I needed empowerment. I needed confidence to be able to take the next strides. And so through the process with her, I made a lot of changes in my life that were absolutely needed. But I created this great appreciation for what a coach does, and the sincerity and the trust that you have to build, and the understanding and the patience and the listening and all of that stuff. But I really wanted to help business owners, because not only are we as business owners all wrapped up in our businesses, but our families wrapped up in our businesses, finances are wrapped up in our businesses. So it's so dynamic for small business owners. And I wanted to be able to do what she did for me as an individual for business owners. So that's a long answer to a short question, but basically what I do is I help business owners recognize where they want to be next and help guide them to that place. There you go.
And so with learning the information from your mentor, how are you helping other businesses navigate the world of business, also, you know, professionally, but also personally, and being able to juggle and handle everything?
That's a very multifaceted question. There's a lot of things that go into business ownership. Sometimes we start a business because we have a skill. We're a doctor, a lawyer, we're certified in this or that or the other. And so we go out and we start a business because that's the next logical step. After working for somebody, you generally want to go and work for yourself, right? And so we have this skill or this talent or this passion, but we don't necessarily, like when you get a law degree, they don't generally teach you how to run a business. When you get an MD, they don't generally teach you how to run a business. So it's almost like you're expected to make this leap out into business ownership, but yet you don't have the skill set or the tools in your toolbox to be able to do that. And so first I sit down and I try to figure out what is your general understanding of how businesses run, because it doesn't matter whether you're a plumber or you're a chiropractor. Businesses fundamentally run the same. So once we figure out what that is, then we end up getting involved in our mindset towards who we think we are as business owners, good or bad or otherwise. And so not only is a business the numbers and your sales and your P&L statements and your balance sheets and all of that stuff, it's also what am I capable of and how am I as a leader, and all of the self-deprecating thoughts that we have and limiting beliefs that we have of who we are as a professional, because ultimately the business owner is the visionary and the driver of each business. So we sit down and we have both of those conversations. And then where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want your business to look like? What do you want your day to look like? How involved do you want to be in your business? Because that helps to tell me what things need to be delegated, where they see themselves. Because once we begin to figure out what the goal picture looks like, we can reverse engineer that to figure out what are the steps that we need to take today to get to the next place. So we figure out what the dream is. We figure out what our strengths and weaknesses in and out of the business, and we develop a plan to get to that direction.
And so with your guidance comes obviously the constant phone calls, text messages for you. So clearly, how do you take your own advice when you're giving the advice? I've always wondered about that, Coach Audra.
It's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because I try to make myself as available as possible, because as you know, as a business owner, you never know when the next thing is going to pop up, and it's like a challenge and it stops you in your tracks and it feels like you're paralyzed. You can't make the decision until you have good feedback to make that decision. But I try to instill within my client relationship that the house is very rarely literally on fire. And for them to figure out how to create structure around their work environment and their home environment, I too have to do the same. So if it's after 5 or 6 o'clock, I may not respond to you until tomorrow unless you say it's absolutely urgent, because I have my relationships with my family and my significant other and all of that is also very important to me. So I realize that the greatest thing that we can give to another human is our attention, because our attention equals time, and we all have the same amount of time in a day. And so if I can't be in the moment as much as I humanly possibly can when I'm with my people, then I'm not giving them my attention. So I feel like I'm answering short questions with long answers, but it's a mutual respect thing, and coaches very much have to be on point when it comes to creating boundaries to what's acceptable. because we teach people how to treat us, right?
And you offer a variation of coaching sessions as well, too, to make it accommodating for the people you work with. So share with me a little bit about that.
Much like a lot of businesses that I've interviewed, we've all kind of had to do some pivots. I've pointed out some really great ones over the last 14 episodes of people that have business owners that have had to adjust their businesses to the changing times. Social distancing, collaborating with others, making environments safe for their teams and for their clients and things like that. So to answer your question, I've done phone coaching sessions, Zoom coaching sessions, Ring Central. I've done some in person, positively distanced across the room. And trying to reach out to my client base, like live streaming the interview session is really getting out and tapping into not only my target market by having another business owner to interview, but also to really explain to my target market and to all of my friends and, collaborative people out in the environment what I do, putting out the important things in coaching in general, and then just what are some other business owners doing. Also starting groups on Facebook where we can get together and kind of have a discussion around, how are you moving your business forward today? What are some tips that came into your environment today that you can share with the rest of us? Just continuing to add value.
And really, with Tuesdays with Audra live stream and also your groups, you're celebrating our community as well, too, which is full of business owners.
Mm-hmm.
And so how does it feel to know that you're really celebrating our business landscape and also providing resources to help during some of the challenging times that we as business owners face?
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, so I call myself a boomerang native. I wasn't technically born in Tallahassee. I was born in Thomasville. But my mom has been practicing law here for 35 years. I had to remember how old I was, 37 years. Anyway, she used to drive back and forth. So really our home base, even though our house was outside of Thomasville, most of our, recreation was always in Tallahassee. When I turned 16, we moved to Tallahassee, and I graduated from Lincoln. So I've always really called Tallahassee my home. I call myself a boomerang native because I moved away to the Northeast and to Tampa and then came back. Moms have a real special way of drawing you back in. Come on, honey, you need to come home, So I love Tallahassee, and it's so different than I feel like it's so different than when I grew up here. There's such a great, thriving, young professional community that is really getting together to work with each other, to celebrate the growth in our community, to lean on each other and collaborate in times of need, but also in new and interesting ways. Railroad Square, for one, 25 years ago was nothing like it is today. And it's a really wonderful, thriving, arty kind of community. And I'm really happy to be able to experience and celebrate all the changes and the professionals, the young professionals that are choosing to call Tallahassee their home now and come up with these really interesting and innovative businesses in a fairly non-competitive sort of way. I mean, you can have two people that do this similar thing, but do it slightly differently and find a way to collaborate with each other, which I think is really awesome. And I want the community to know how much the businesses that thrive here are really adding so much value, which is why I wanted to do the Tuesdays with Audra, to interview all these different business owners to figure out, what are they doing and why did they decide to stay, to encourage others to do the same. I get so excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're really creating a community here, especially when we're being told to social distance and when people are really thirsting for that community networking and something tangible. We've got lots of questions here. Anicia, she wants to know, what are you hoping to achieve in your fabulous 40s?
Oh my God, and we have so many things to talk about, but I want to get my message out to the world. I want to impact individuals and lift them up and remind them that even though business ownership can be really difficult, it can be so rewarding, and just give them as much information as I can. So I want to be a big speaker or something like that, and just share love and support, and come on, let's do this. We got this. Like, start that business and change the world. That's what I want to achieve. And be amazing, be fabulous.
Yeah, you're a friend of mine, so what I'm getting is like the kumbaya.
Yeah. Come on, let's join together. Let's do it. We got this.
Kumbaya. Okay, so really cool. Now, we talked about Partners for Solutions. So I'm bringing up your website here for any business owners who are watching right now, who are like, I need some help, I need some assistance. And first of all, I can definitely refer you on my own because you've helped me tremendously. So if you're watching, I definitely recommend Coach Audra. But it's really important that people step outside of their, I guess, what they think about themselves or their businesses and have someone give you a different perspective. And that's really what you're providing, is offering that perspective that one can't find or answer within themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so let's want to make sure that we show people where to go if they want to connect with you, but obviously, clearly, you're all over Facebook and social media, so you're pretty easy to get in touch with, I'm sure.
Yes, I am, and I try to respond as quickly as possible. But like I said, if it's after a certain time, I've committed myself to spending time with my people.
We all understand that. Yeah. So on top of providing a valuable resource and service to your clients, you are live streaming, you are offering your coaching through your groups on Facebook. But something new that's on the horizon, which, is kind of like serendipity for your 40th birthday, is a new television show. And so let's talk about Inside the C-Suite.
So I connected with a fellow coach out of Cognac, France, actually. And he was looking for coaches because he had decided that he was going to start a coaching television channel. Now, there's a channel for everything, whether it's history or reality TV or anything, Westerns, old movies. But he's like, why isn't there a channel for coaching? Because coaching is such a huge part of being able to identify and find, which is the same thing as identify, resources available to people that are in a particular space. They're stuck in a rut spiritually, or they're stuck in a rut financially, or they're stuck in a rut, whatever. But there's no channel for coaches. So he reached out, and then I connected with him. And so on his channel, I'm going to have a show called Inside the C-Suite. I kind of mirrored it after Inside the Actor Studios because I love the idea of someone sitting down interviewing professionals in a specific genre or industry and learning about their experiences. Even going through business school, I mean, we learn a lot of theory, but we don't really get a chance to understand a whole lot of application because we don't have access to those professionals to be able to ask them. So the platform is going to be on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon. It is going to be aired coming October 1st. And really the purpose is to bring the knowledge and experience of successful leaders to my audience. Because my goal is to change our view of corporate leadership by exploring these individuals' passions and understanding how they apply those passions to the corporate executive world. Really, the style of it is kind of an intro by me, a sit down with the professional and to understand what's their passion, what drives their leadership, how they've overcome challenges through building massive businesses or being involved in large corporate spaces. And then a short kind of sum up by me talking about that topic and how it applies to coaching and things like that, or how you can apply it to your own life or your own business. Because entrepreneurship and business is, I mean, FSU they have just created the first independently standing college of entrepreneurship. I mean, it's the wave of the future. It's ideas that people have that come to life. But there's a lot, like we talked about, there's a lot of challenges that come behind that. So I'm so excited about this show. I am certainly reaching outside of my comfort zone, which I have to be my own best client and coach myself through this. And this is a challenging process, but it's good. And I'm just really excited to get it off the ground. I have all kinds of ideas, and thank you, Chrissy, because she's going to help me because I have an idea and she's like, okay, this is how we play this out. I'm like, huh, always got to have a good team. So.
Did you ever imagine this for yourself?
Yes and no. So when we first started Tuesdays with Audra, when I was on the first show that you invited me on, I think it was Shop Tally. I said, oh, I want to start an interview show. Can we start an interview show? Because I turned to Chrissy and I have to ask her, because I'm like, I don't even know if this is a thing. Like, can we do this independently? And can we start a show? And then of course my wheels start turning in my head. And I'm like, I want to interview these people to like pull out their knowledge and their experiences and their passion and, reinforce that you have to, all of these things. So no, not until March. As of March, I did. And then it came like 2 months later and I was like, holy cow, now what do I do?
It was so funny because Crystal Vinson, who's the owner of Budget Printing, and I were always like, she's got it. She's got it. And I was like, yeah, I'm hooking up with Audra to do a show. And it's kind of like, well, she doesn't really need me. but it's really it's pretty awesome that you are able to do this, especially during a pandemic.
No, like I said, I don't know. I just, you ask God and the universe for things, and then, sometimes you're kind of like, yeah, I'd love that thing. And then it shows up and you're like, oh, now I have this thing and I asked for it. So I have to figure out how to make it work. And
so what are some things that people can expect to see in some upcoming episodes? I know you've got this for about 3 seasons, right?
I do. So 3 seasons over a 12-month period of time. So 8 episodes per season. I could cut it up however I wanted to, but I felt drawn to the 3 seasons of 8. The first season is I'm seeking out, and this is kind of a shout out, if you know high-level executives or have connections at either major companies or I'm looking for the passion. So I'll interview an individual that has a passion for building his connections and building his network, and that's what he does. And I have somebody that's going to be coming on, and I'm not going to announce their names yet, that is all about building diversity within the corporate structure. And so they're the vice president of diversity for a company, and understanding how that passion for creating diversity and the positive effects that come out of that impacts the way that a company functions, why it's so important to have different points of view and different ethnicities and different cultures within your corporate structure, because then you have all of this, just this wealth of knowledge, because their customer base is different. Their customer base is diverse. So we need to have that representation in the corporate structure so that you can better understand your target market and how to reach them. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for on a big scale, which is really scary because nobody likes to be turned down. But, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left, and it's your birthday. So I want to make sure everybody watching knows that we've got some birthday questions as well for Audra.
Okay.
And if you watch Tuesdays with the Audra, you know that she usually picks, questions out of her. Do you have one for me? Do you want to like send it over for me?
No, you're in charge of this, girlfriend. You tell me. Oh, Wait.
Wait, we can do it. I'll grab it. Go to the opposite way.
Go the wrong way.
Okay, yeah, we're not doing it right. So anyway, so my question is for you is, what is your favorite flavor of birthday cake?
You know, I used to think that I was so cool by picking this one, and it truly is my favorite, but I am a huge fan of red velvet cake with buttercream icing. Yep. I don't even know how to make, like I can make buttercream icing, but I've never made a red velvet cake, but that's definitely my favorite. I think it's because red is such an empowering color to me, and I'm like, ooh, I get a fancy cake.
Right. That is definitely fancy cake for sure.
Fancy.
Okay. So what is one thing you must do in your birthday year for being 40? What's one thing you want to accomplish?
Other than the things that are already slated to happen, I mean, I'm pretty already impressed with how 40 is going to go. So the year of 40, what do I want to do?
The year of 40.
Because let me just tell you a few things that are going to happen after I turn 40, because this is insane. In the next 6 months, all of these things are going to happen. I'm contracted to purchase a house with my boyfriend. That should close at the end of the month. I'm starting a television show. I'm launching a podcast with Margaret Rose Cox called The Goldfish Effect, because we're both ADD and we just want to sit around and talk coaching topics, but they change every 5 to 7 seconds. And that's going to be hilarious. I have a new program that I'm writing, and I'm writing a corresponding workbook to a book that a friend of mine is writing. And so we're going to self-publish those. All of those things are happening within the next 6 months. So I don't know if I can wish for another thing, because I don't know if I have the bandwidth for it. But I'm so excited about all of the projects. Goldfish Effect. You guys, this podcast is just we think that we're hilarious, so hopefully our audience thinks that we're hilarious too. But we make sound effects and everything. Goldfish effect, bloop bloop bloop, because we know that we're like changing topics. We're like, where did you go? Come back. And we do it with cocktails. It's delightful.
Yes, I love that. Love that. Yes. Love that. Okay. So on a more serious note, in closing, what words of inspiration do you have for people who are going through a tough time right now with their business? What would you recommend? What are some words of inspiration you have for them?
Okay, a couple of things. 3 words of advice, or 3 points of advice. And it took me a second to get that together. First, find a new schedule. You have to settle into a new norm. If you still feel like that you're in a chaotic space and that the world is moving too fast around you, take control of at least your mornings and find a new pattern. Second, I highly suggest, whether it's meditation, prayer, journaling, grounding yourself and walking around in the grass, whatever it takes, find quiet time in your morning. I just started meditating probably, well, as soon as kind of COVID started, because my mornings were crazy and I was way out of pattern. There's a lot of guided meditation apps out there. I use Insight. Take time for just a few minutes to quiet your brain. And then third, if you are a business owner, during your quiet times, think about ways that you can collaborate with other businesses in your community, and do not be afraid to reach out to them, because they're looking for ways too. So if you have a couple of businesses that you refer closely with, sit down and talk to them, or Zoom, or call them on the phone. Find ways that you can collaborate to be cross-referral businesses. Red Eye, as we know, we've talked to Barbie quite a few times, has done an amazing job of reaching out into her community and finding ways to collaborate with other business owners. Because we want to lift each other up. You know, we want to rise the tide together. And if you fear that you are getting to a place where your business is kind of standing on its last legs and you're not quite sure what to do next, reach out to somebody that you can collaborate with as far as another business owner. Seek out BNI referral groups, because those are also great, or call me and let's sit down and talk.
Thanks for the coaching advice.
It's what I do. It's fun.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much in joining us for this conversation with our host, Coach Audra, on Tuesdays with Audra. And make sure that if you have any needs as far as coaching advice or anything of that nature, check out Partners for Solution on partnersforsolution.com, and also get in touch with Coach Audra anytime, because she's accessible clearly on social media. Anything else you'd like to add, Coach Audra?
No, I feel like I've been very bubbly, and I generally am a very happy person, but I'm also not afraid to tell my clients, you've got to stop doing that. So with the bubbly also comes the serious, but I'm just so excited that it's my birthday and that I got a chance to actually, you know, talk to you guys and share what I do and all the things that are coming up. And thank you, Chrissy, for being my interviewer. It has been delightful. And thank you to all the guests that typed in and wished me a happy birthday and, you know, saw the show. And I'm so excited to connect with all of you.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for watching Tuesdays with Audra. Join us back here next week, same time. Have a wonderful day and happy birthday, Coach Audra.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.